On this episode of WGTV, humanities students dive into anti-intellectualism.
Aristocratic seminars in Lang, how they work is everyone just speaks their opinion, and it's not more of like, oh, this half of the class is on this side and this half of the class is on that side.
One group of freshmen starts their own brand.
We have this brand, it's called Laced. So right now it's just a clothing brand in the making.
And running back Cam Newton signs to Colorado.
Cam is one of those guys. I think it's the way when I first saw him practice.
These stories and more on this episode of WGTV. Good afternoon, Wildcats, and thank you for tuning in to this episode of WGTV. Live from the Grove, I'm Kendall Barnes.
And I'm Jackson Kingerski.
We have many exciting stories coming up, but first, Jackson's going to catch you up on what's been happening at the Grove. Jackson.
Thanks, Kendall. The Prosper Education Foundation's scholarship applications just opened this past Monday. Applications will be taken until the hard deadline on February 20th at 4 p.m. The application also requires teacher and non-teacher recommendations, and around $250,000 are given to receiving seniors every year in scholarships. Due to inclement weather, the Winter Meet the Wildcats event has been delayed from yesterday to next Thursday, but that's not the only effect of this recent wintry mix. Olivia Cook is on the front steps of Walnut Grove for more information. Olivia.
Thanks, Jackson. The district has been getting a head start on preparing for this weekend's icy weather. De-icing has taken place throughout several entry and exit points around the school. This is being done by salting the stairs and sidewalks, but notably not the parking lots. So be sure to pay attention to any puddles and remain cautious on the roads. Back to you in studio, Kendall and Jackson.
Thanks, Olivia. Well, I was really hoping for a snow day today, but hopefully we can have maybe up to 8 inches of snow this weekend.
That's crazy. I was really hoping for a good snowball fight, snowman, hot chocolate, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Prosper ISD has canceled after-school and weekend curricular activities today through Sunday, and will continue to actively monitor the weather over the weekend to evaluate the status for potentially a Monday off. A pedestrian bridge crossing Wilson Creek requires an estimated $250,000 repair after damage from spring flooding. City officials informed the Prosper Parks and Recreation Board that the bridge near Custer Road still remains structurally safe, but does need significant repairs. And from one board to another, the Prosper ISD Board recently voted to approve the annexation on 220 acres of Winsong Ranch from Denton ISD. The property is expected to align with further growth plans and will not disrupt any zoning for current students.
Merriam-Webster defines being literate as able to read and write, or having knowledge or competence. With this definition, Soka Thunikela dives into how anti-intellectualism fights people at Walnut Grove.
Before winter break, AP language students participated in a Socratic seminar debating on the topic of anti-intellectualism and the impact it has on the world today.
Aristocratic seminars in Lang, how they work is everyone just speaks their opinion, and it's not more of like, oh, this half of the class is on this side and this half of the class is on that side. It's not really like that. Nobody is going to sit at a desk and ask you, what's your GPA? It's more of, can you speak properly? Can you answer questions properly? And do you have a well grasp of what's actually going on? School in the U.S., they get us ready for just academics and not real life skills. And I think as an ISD, we also have to push more towards that.
Anti-intellectualism is the idea of disdain to intellectual thoughts and individuals. Those who believe in this often not promoting education and humanities. According to Fordham Political Review, there is a growing trend of illiteracy and education deficits within the U.S. An estimated 2/3 of young adults between the ages 16 to 18 struggle with basic literacy.
Pretty thoroughly believe that America has succumbed to it. I think it's to multiple different reasons. I think a lot of it, maybe one big reason is like social media. I think generally like time spent online and just time spent not focusing on your education.
While literacy rates decrease, ideas on the cause of this increase, as English and everyday classes are affected by these statistics.
There was a huge descent in basic literacy skills right after COVID-19. Students were out of school that spring of 2020 and going into the 2020-2021 school year. A lot of things changed with the COVID-19 outbreak, and I think we've started to see how that has affected students. And now some of them are high schoolers and still have very basic elementary and middle school level reading skills and comprehension skills.
While literacy rates rise, the Grove provides plentiful resources and opportunities to make sure that you do not have to join these numbers. For WGTV, I'm Sloka Danikela.
As conversations regarding anti-intellectualism sparks, educators at the Grove hope that important discussions like this encourage students to think critically and value their growth inside and outside of the classroom.
Just yesterday, the Department of Agriculture's Commissioner Sid Miller announced the Agriculture Hall of Fame. It is a new statewide honor made to recognize those who have helped make Texas become the #1 state for agriculture in the nation. And Miller hopes it can inspire a younger generation to pursue agriculture for their future. Federal environmental regulators are scaling back several pollution rules, leading to changes that could affect air quality monitoring and emissions limits across Texas. The updates delay requirements for industries like oil and gas to reduce gassy methane releases, and it loosens timelines for enforcing certain air pollution standards.
One group of freshmen is using their digital skills they learned in the class to build their very own brand. Cruz Ingstrom styles up the story.
You don't often see student-run businesses, and you almost never see one started by freshmen.
We have this brand. It's called Laced. So right now it's just a clothing brand in the making.
But these students aren't designing apparel the typical way.
What we're doing is that we're using CAD, and then in CAD we're trying to make t-shirts that suit a person's personality. We're starting to do more surveys on people. We want to know what they would like to wear.
The program, CAD, is often associated with engineering or architecture, but this group is applying it to fashion.
We're using different textures for our fabric, and we downloaded a couple mock-ups in CAD.
You can design stuff on there. We can use that for fashion. So if we want this baggy clothes, all these baggy clothes, then we can make it to do that.
With a unique way of designing within CAD, it proves easier and helps them build their dream.
On his computer, he starts designing these products like t-shirts, pants, anything. And from there, what we're trying to do is that we're trying to find a reselling company, and maybe from there we can actually start producing shirts.
For WGTV, I'm Cruz Ingstrom.
Although their designs are in the early stages, this group of students believes that their ideas can soon turn into real products. And while those students are creating on screen, other athletes are creating highlights on the court. Austin Cunningham is in studio with your sports recap. Austin.
Thanks, Kendall. Let's start off on the hardwood, where the boys basketball team has started 2026 with a bang, going 4-1 to start the year, with their lone loss coming in a tight 2-point game against Anna. The Wildcats kept up the momentum with a 67-45 victory against Greenville. Let's look at the head-to-head stats for each team as we look into what led to a victory last night. The Wildcats were 17-7 on the season and are 2 games back of Anna in the race for the district title. A lot of their success this season has come from their high-powered offense, which is averaging 69 points per game. On the other end of the court, the Lions come into this game with a 5-16 record and are looking to capture their first win in district play. While their offense lacks the same firepower as the Wildcats, only averaging 50 points per game, their defense has been a bigger strength, only giving up 59 points per game compared to the Wildcats' 61. However, it wasn't enough to pull ahead of the Wildcats. But they're not the only Wildcat basketball team that's been on an impressive run. The girls' basketball team has started the new year 7-0. Even more notable is the fact that they haven't just been winning, they've been dominant. Over the past 7-game stretch, they've outscored their opponents by an average of 20 points per game. The Wildcats' strengths on both ends of the floor have contributed to their 25-5 overall record, with a 9-0 record in district play. Speaking of district play, the Wildcat girls soccer team picked up their first district win on Tuesday, with a resounding 15-0 win over Denison, improving the record to 8-0-1. Even more impressive than the record is the fact that the Wildcats have scored a stunning 57 goals, while only allowing 5 goals to be scored against them. They'll be looking to keep the goals flowing for their matchup against Greenville tonight, before another key district matchup when the undefeated 11-0 Lovejoy Leopards roll into town on Tuesday. And when it comes to undefeated teams, let's talk about a Wildcat boys soccer team that hasn't lost a game since April of 2023. Last year's squad went 25-0-2 on their way to a state championship. So far, the reigning champs are off to a strong start in their title defense by keeping the undefeated streak alive, starting the season 13-0. Scoring 5 goals for every 1 your opponents score certainly seems like a winning strategy, but only time will tell if the Wildcats can go back-to-back. And senior running back Cam Newton is no stranger to going back-to-back after rushing for over 2,000 yards each of the past 2 seasons. Those yards weren't just crucial to the Wildcats' offense, they were also crucial in helping Newton reach the next step in his journey. Sebastian Backus has the story.
Cam Newton committed to the Colorado Buffaloes this past Sunday, planning for his future. Coach Allison shows his support and how his coaching went beyond the field to prepare Cam for this very moment.
Cam is one of those guys. I think it's the way when I first saw him practice, and a lot of times when you get a running back, you have rules and stuff, and he had this innate ability to just find the open hole.
As Cam Newton signs an NIL deal at just 18 years old, he plans for the future and the many more football games that lie ahead.
They just gave me confidence that I could do whatever comes to my mind, and just gave me confidence even throughout the season that, like, hey, I'm the guy and I could do whatever I want. I just want to thank my family because, like, they spent hours at night just messaging coaches and, like, trying to find a place where it was right for me, and just trying to get the world on notice that I'm special in football, and, like, that I have lots of many talents.
With the eyes of the college football world now turning towards him, Cam remains grounded by the community he's represented since day one.
And there are so many people that look up to him. You see after games, you see the little elementary kids running and just, hey, it's Cam, and that's because he is a great player, but he's also a great person. He has a great personality. Cam's very deserving of great things. He's very deserving of Colorado, and he's going to make our school proud. And he's going to make Walnut Grove football proud.
Cam Newton will be on the roster for the 2026 to 2027 college football season, moving far from Texas, but he will still continue his year here, graduating from Walnut Grove and getting ready to make more football history. For WGTV, I'm Sebastian Backus.
Let's go Buffs.
Newton joins the Colorado team that went 3-9 on the year and largely struggled to produce in the running game. Whether or not one of Prosper's rising stars will make an instant impact in year 1 is yet to be seen, but it certainly seems Newton is headed for a bright future both on and off the field. That's all for your sports recap. For WGTV, I'm Austin Cunningham. Back to you, Kendall and Jackson.
Thank you, Austin. That's all we have for today's episode. For WGTV, I'm Jackson Kingerski.
And I'm Kendall Bynes. Thank you for watching. And remember, Wildcats, set the standard.